Hello, Bruce here. So I'm sitting here at Crawford Ln right now, and behind me is the somewhat famous High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle. One Michelin star Tai Hwa Pork Noodle. And in a sense, it's been gaining a little bit of social traction these few days because on the 1st of October, Mr. Tang Chai Seng, owner of High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle, put up a notice on the newspapers to clarify that they are the one and only High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle, not affiliated with another similarly named store, which is High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle. Has been expanding branches around Singapore, Bedok, Hougang. Apparently there's one coming up at Owen Road as well. And maybe the boss felt that he needed to clarify and tell his loyal customers that, you know, we're one and only, we're not affiliated with them. They are a different entity. So what I'm going to do today is not say which is the original or the copy. I'm just going to do a little taste test on the two and see which one I prefer, which is the Bak Chor for me and which is the Bak Chor for you. So after close to 1 hour of queuing, I'm finally at my table with my bowl of Bak Chor Mee from High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle. So this is the one that was awarded the 1 Michelin star and commonly referred to as the original, although actually if you think about it, right, the brothers both learn from the same place. Technically they're both original, right? It's just slight variations from each other. So I went with the $8 regular, and for $8 the bowl is slightly bigger than my face, which is actually quite impressive lah. And comes with quite a lot of noodles, your pork slices, your pork liver, which I forgot to say I don't really eat pork noodle liver, but whatever. Pork balls. This little wonton thing, which is quite interesting. Normally you don't see wonton in. One thing you don't really see that often is this little thing over here, which is a deep fried soulfish. So I went with mee pok, which I feel is the superior noodle here. With a slight firmness to it. Not really springy, a little dense. And I think it goes quite well with the vinegar that they add. The vinegar that they used smells a bit different from the rest. So the soulfish adds a little bit of a smoky flavor, almost like a more intense version of bonito flakes. And it does impart a little bit of the flavor down to the noodle, the crispiness. And the fish itself releases a very nice aroma that envelops your bite. Alright, wonton. But it doesn't bring much difference or variety to your bite. On the other hand, the meatball is firm, tough and springy. Really enjoyable. So one thing about the soup that comes with it is that you got all these floating bits of pork. Don't really see this that much nowadays. It's a lot more cloudy than the Bak Chor Mee you get elsewhere. And because they add so much of these little seaweed strips, right, it adds a nice little oceany taste to it. I kind of forgetting to say that I don't take pork liver, but here goes. I really am not a fan of pork liver, but I will not waste food. I will not waste food. If you ask me, right, I would say the standout for this is the vinegar that they use, as well as the soup that they come with. Adds a nice balance to your overall meal. I remember coming here before and I didn't really like it, but this time around I guess maybe the flavor grows on me. So off to our second destination. I'm over here at Hong Lim Park for High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle. I mean, Chinese, it all sounds the same lah, Ta Hua, Ta Hua. But you know, High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle, this is $8. Mee pork dry. I'm trying to keep it the same. And right off the bat, one thing I noticed is that the sauce is not as wet. Other than that, for $8, you get pretty much the same size. A few more pork balls than High Street, which I appreciate. The liver looks a little bit more intact, if you know what I mean. And to me, more surprisingly, the soulfish, the fried soulfish that they gave in a much more bigger and more full package. Looking forward to this one actually. The soup doesn't come with the seaweed pieces that you get in Hill Street, but it's still equally cloudy with all the little pork bits floating about. And as expected, right, it doesn't taste as oceany as compared to the Hill Street one. What you get is a very intense pork flavor, very sweet, very salty. Alright, moving on to the main star, the noodles. So this is quite interesting for me. This has a stronger vinegar smell, but it doesn't have a strong enough vinegar taste. Personally, if you ask me, right, I'm not that big a fan of like too much vinegar. To me, this is a good balance. I find that the noodle texture to be a little bit softer than the one at Hill Street. It's the soulfish. They give so much bigger sized ones. Oh, this is rather interesting. This one has a more dried fish flavor, not as smoky. This part is crispy and crunchy, but when you get into the meat portion of it, right, if you look closely over here, there's this like little bits of meat. It gives a very nice like intense fishy aroma to it. Same but different. And I just realized one thing. Most Bak Chor Mee places that you go to elsewhere, right, they don't serve you this, of course, but they serve you pork crackling. Personally, if you ask me, I prefer this. And moving on to my favorite part, the bowls. So comparing with the one in Hill Street, I feel that this is less compacted, less dense, so that when you bite into it, right, it's softer. And unfortunately, I feel it doesn't release as much of that porky sweetness or the pork juice. For the pork ball wise, I would say Hill Street wins this one. It's still a nice meatball. The dumpling. Oh, they gave 2 dumplings here. Very generous with the ingredients. So, one thing I realized about this particular bowl is that because it's not so heavily sauced up, the individual items have a better chance to shine. And that is the case with the dumpling as well. Because with this, right, when I'm biting into the dumpling, the savouriness of the filling, the meat texture, the sweetness, it comes out more as compared to what I remember with Hill Street, which was like, all I'm tasting is just the same flavor throughout. It's just that sauce, the vinegar throughout. And then the one thing that I really don't like, but because I've already done it with Hill Street, I have to do it with High Street. Give it a fair fighting chance. This is the pork liver. Again, I don't really like, so I'm just gonna skip this. Fast forward through this. Comparing it with Hill Street, this one took a little bit longer to, you know, turn to mush and powder. But I do realize that there's a bit of a rubbery texture. Not the whole thing though, it's like a skin that's sticking around. The liver aroma isn't as strong in this one. Some of you like it, some of you don't. For me, because I don't like it, it's more acceptable for me. Over at Hill Street, they give more minced pork bits, which in the process of cooking kind of clumps up together. So it's not here, not there. On the other hand, over here at High Street, right, they give you more pieces of these pork slices, which I really appreciate because, you know, it's just nicer, more tender. You get better texture, more flavor as well. For me personally, I prefer the High Street Tai Hwa Pork Noodle, the one here. I feel that because the sauces are not so heavy. The other dishes are a lot more space to grow and shine and to showcase their flavors to you. I like the little changes that they make, with the exception of the pork ball, but everything else is really nice. But having said that, I don't think that this means that one Tai Hwa is better than the other Tai Hwa. It just means that this is the one for me. Because at the end of the day, don't forget that taste is subjective. One thing that you like might not be something that someone else likes. And you gotta respect that. And all this talk about, oh, this one is the original lah, that's a copycat lah. No, they're both original. If you look at the lineage of things, the brothers both learn from the dad. One decides to open his own one stick around. But they're both original in their own aspect. They're not like stealing recipes from each other, isn't it? So how can you call that original and copy? It's just yummy and yummy. So if you like the content you're seeing and you want to see more, or if you have suggestions for which ones I should compare next, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I'll see you soon in the next episode. Who knows, maybe I'll compare something else. Or maybe it's back to regular programming. Do let me know. Until then, bye bye.